Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna. I am Rajarsi Dasa. Welcome to Hare Krishna today. On today's program, we're continuing our series of discussions on the Bhagavad Gita, an overview of the Bhagavad Gita. This is the second in our series of discussions. To just briefly recount what we covered on our previous program, we discussed from chapter 1 of the Bhagavad Gita, observing the armies on the battlefield. We described Dhritarashtra's inquiry, why he was inquiring from his secretary Sanjaya as to what did his sons and the Pandavas do being assembled at the battlefield. We discussed how Dharmakshetri, that is a holy place, and he was fearful that the righteous Pandavas would be benefited from this holy place. Then we discussed Duryodhana's diplomacy, and we concluded the program by briefly mentioning Arjuna's 5 reasons for not wanting to fight. In other words, we have to look at our situation, because Arjuna is actually representing us. Yes, Arjuna is an eternally liberated soul. He is Krishna's eternal servant. But he's taking the position and the role of a person of this world in ignorance, not knowing what is what. So, as eternal souls, there are different reasons as to why we don't perform our Sanatan Dharma, our eternal duty towards God. So just to recap again, Arjuna's 5 reasons for not wanting to perform his prescribed duty as a warrior on the battlefield. The first one, compassion. He's feeling sorry for those on the battlefield. Then Arjuna makes the excuse, he says, I won't be able to enjoy. If I fight, I kill these persons, I won't be able to enjoy. Then 3, he says, sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. I'll get sin. Then he says, destruction of dynasty. If we have this battle, things will really go bad. We'll kill out all these warriors, and these women will be unprotected, and they will be exploited, and there'll be unwanted population. And when low-class children are born, they won't perform the prescribed religious duties for the elevation of ancestors, and the whole society will be corrupted and go to hell. No. Some person hearing, they may be thinking, but Arjuna is a good guy. Yeah, he's, sounds good to me. Yes, he doesn't want to fight. So let us look at some of these verses, how Arjuna, Sanjaya, he's describing the situation to the blind king Dhritarashtra. And that's probably some good news for Dhritarashtra when he hears from Sanjaya that that this Arjuna, after examining the armies, then, he's telling Krishna, drive my chariot between the two armies. Then when he looks at the situation, then Sanjaya says, when the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he becomes overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. So then Arjuna, he's giving his reasons now. Arjuna says, my dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. Now, at some time or the other in our life, each and every person in this world, at some time or the other, today, tomorrow, the next day, we would find our backs against the wall. We would be up against a situation that would drive us to this situation like Arjuna. And would we have the strength? Would we have the knowledge to be able to benefit, to be able to cope and to benefit from such situation? Or would we just go into depression, or just go to doctor, or go to the Obia man, or just say some prayer in ignorance, God help out. And when he doesn't help out, then the finger goes up. There's no God, or how could he do like that? In other words, when we are in intense situations within this world, we should know very clearly that God is all good. He can do no wrong. And if we don't get that point clear in our heads, then we are written off as atheists. Yes. If we don't think that God is all perfect, all powerful, then we'll reason like that Jewish rabbi, that guy Harold Kushner. He wrote a book about how to reason when bad things happen to good people. Yes. Because you think, I'm a good person and things are not going my way. So he concluded that, God, poor God, he can't do better. He can't help. Well, why worship a God anyway, who cannot help the situation? So, what we are saying is that we would find ourselves in Arjuna's situation, the loss of a very dear one, loss of possessions. So many situations can come up in life and we feel that pain, that pressure. At that point, we should know God is all good, He is all loving, He is all powerful. And He says in the Gita, Maya Dhyakshena Prakriti, everything works under my supervision. So the pain that we feel, the disappointment we go through, there's a lesson that we have to learn. So before we start pointing the finger and blaming this one and that one and the other, the Bhagavad says, he who blames the perpetrator, the wrongdoer, is as guilty as the wrongdoer. In other words, you may be right, and you may be subjected to unrighteous things. You think that is impossible? You drive on the road You could be right on the road and dead. Yes. Being right, what does it mean? So the point is this. Whenever something is happening, you may even be right, but there's a higher lesson that you have to learn. And if we don't learn that higher lesson, and we just go all out to nail someone who we think has made a mistake, then we've gotten it wrong. In other words, we want to blame the instrument of our karma. Fine. You may do something to, if it's a wrongdoer, you may turn the person over to the police, or you may seek that he gets some counseling or some treatment or whatever for his problem, or whatever. But the idea is this. The mere fact that something has happened means that there's a lesson that I have to learn from this situation. So it's not that just that person is wrong, but what's wrong with me? Or what is the lesson that I have to learn? So Arjuna describing here his situation, he says that my limbs are quivering, my mouth is drying up, my whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow gandiva is slipping from my hand, my skin is burning. These are the symptoms of attachment. When we attach to a material body, material bodies, possessions, we undergo these symptoms. These are not symptoms that a pure soul experiences. Souls are spiritual. Souls are eternal. Nothing can happen to the soul. Nothing can happen to a soul. Therefore, whenever we experience things, we should know it is because we as eternal souls are in material bodies and we're identifying with these material bodies and these different situations. And this is the root cause of our problem. Therefore, self-realization is required, not just some theoretical knowledge, but as we proceed in Bhagavad Gita, we're going to look at Lord Krishna prescribing different processes for coming to the point of self-realization. There's a big problem in the world in this age of Kali Yuga, in that the majority of people in society today, they don't care a fig about who I am, where I came from, what's going on here. All they think, I want to enjoy, I want to live. And they go about busy trying to put things together in ignorance. In other words, they do not come to the point of wanting to know what is the purpose of this human form of life. Who am I? Where have I come from? Why am I here? Why do we have to encounter these miserable conditions? Disease, old age, death. Miseries caused by our own body and mind. Miseries caused by other living beings. Miseries caused by nature. Why do we have to go through all of this? We work very hard. We endeavor, we secure a nice situation only to have disease, old age, death come and kick us out. What's going on in this place? And then these religious people want to tell me that there's a God and He's all good and He's all powerful. But people don't even think that much that they'll become confused. In other words, they practice rabbit philosophy and ostrich philosophy. You close your eyes like rabbit cornered by the dog, closes his eyes and think dog gone. Or ostrich buries its head under the sand thinking that no more danger. So in ignorance we like to close our eyes and play nothing will happen. But we could close our eyes, but disease, old age and death is going to come and kick us out. So the better thing to do is now, while we have a human form with developed intellect, the purpose of the developed intellect is to educate ourselves as to why we are in this situation. And just in case we want to blame others, well, the Bhagavad says, if you bite your tongue, who do you blame for that? Who do you blame for that? Do you go knocking out your teeth? But in ignorance, we don't know that I am the one responsible for my situation in this world. Yeah, we think, I don't know, maybe God put me here. Maybe God have a purpose for me. Yeah, people think like that and they appear to be very, very learned. God put me here for a purpose. Oh yeah, you think God doesn't have anything to do but just putting souls and suffering them? Huh? Is that your concept of God? Well, if that's your concept of God, well, you should think again and read Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says in the 7th chapter, Icha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani samoham sarge yanti parantapa, that all living beings, sarva bhutani, not Adam and Eve, not two persons, sarva bhutani samoham, all living beings are born into delusion in this world because of their own icha, their own desire, and dvesha, their own envy, their neglect of God. Yes, it is our own doing that has put us in this situation. And if you want to say, no, I didn't desire like that, I don't think like that, I don't envy God, well, this is said that the cause exists in the effect. Our present situation in this world, examine yourself carefully. Lord Krishna is saying many things to do in the Bhagavad Gita. Ask yourself, why I am not coming up? Why am I not stepping up? Why am I not doing it? Because the very thing that caused us to come here, the very thing we are victimized by, icha, our desires to do what we want. Yes. Krishna says, without reservation, that the souls in this world think, Ishwaraham, I am the controller, aham bhogi, I am the enjoyer. So we just go about trying to control and enjoy. Anyway, we're just analyzing Arjuna's problems, and we should be careful that when problems come, we don't go blaming God for it, but we take full responsibility and then do something about it. And the something that we have to do is not shrouded in any mystery. No. There's nothing is clouded and vague and abstract. It's very explicit in Bhagavad Gita. All that is required is a sincere desire on our part for knowing the truth and willing to live by the truth. That's all that is required. All ignorance in this world is only due to our own wrongdoing. We should know, wherever the negatives exist, the positive also exists. You find poverty-stricken people? Well, there's wealth also. There's poverty, there's wealth. Yes. You're thirsty? Well, there's water to quench your thirst. You're miserable? There's something to make you happy. God is the reservoir of all pleasure. So we should know that there's solution to everything that is lacking, but the onus is on us to seek that solution. Arjuna is saying, I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune. O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon, I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle. Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. Dejected, frustrated, he can't see how any good can come from this situation. He doesn't even desire victory, kingdom, or happiness. Just see how bewildered and confused people become. Arjuna is taking that position here. He says, O Govinda, of what avail to us a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield, O Madhusudana? When teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brother-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the 3 worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? What pleasure will we derive? In other words, we evaluate things in this world on the basis of, will I be happy or not? And we think that this is the criteria for our actions in this world. I'll do it if it makes me happy. And if it is not pleasing to me, I won't do it. True? Is that the criteria for acting in this world? It is just pleasing to me? Well, first of all, we should see that in ignorance or in illusion, we don't even know who we are or what we are. We think ourselves to be this body. And that's not the standard for being happy. When we think we are this body, then we think happiness means the bodily pleasures, the tongue, the various senses of the body. But who says that is real happiness? That's happiness in ignorance. Because the soul is different from the physical body. So these momentary pleasures distract us from the real business to realize I am an eternal soul and I need permanent happiness. Attachment to this body, an attachment to these temporary problems, these temporary pleasures, are the very thing that has the souls in this material world, 8,400,000 species taking bodies one after another. Because when we have a human form, in ignorance, we don't try to solve the problems of life. That's why all the millions of species exist, in ignorance. These various bodies exist because the soul in ignorance, want to enjoy bodily pleasures. So Arjuna is thinking, my pleasure, my pleasure. Someone may say, so what do you desire? Do you not desire to be happy? Of course. Every living being, Anandamaya Bhyasa, pleasure seeking. That's the desire of all souls. But there are three types of pleasure, and we need to be careful as to what type of pleasure we are pursuing. Taking intoxicants for a fool, that's pleasure, but he doesn't know toxic means poison, and he's destroying himself. But it doesn't mean he's happy either. Why? Because Krishna says, Kama rupena kaunteya dushparena nalena cha. This calm, this burning desire that he has, any amount of intoxicant he takes, the problem remains that burning desire. It's never satisfying, it burns like fire. Here someone has a strong urge, sex desire, but does it mean that if he has the opportunity for enjoyment, problem gone, problem solved? No. The problem is that burning lust, that unfulfilled desire. So Arjuna has the wrong criteria. He's saying, I won't be able to enjoy. Is that life? In other words, it's not me, my pleasure, my pleasure. Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure. And if we act for his pleasure and his satisfaction, that is the constitutional position of the soul, and that's the only position in which the soul can actually be completely happy. But as long as we are caught up on this platform of my pleasure, bodily pleasure, we'll always get our actions wrong. The criteria is it pleasing to God or not? So in our next program, we're going to continue with Arjuna's 5 reasons for not wanting to fight. I'm Rajarsi Dasa saying Hare Krishna, and do join us again next week for a continuing presentation.